Morning. Are you coming in then?
Good morning. Now, what a show we got lined up for you today. Today's a good one. We've got actress, comedian and impressionist Debra Stephenson will be here. She'll be taking a break from a UK tour to tuck into 3 different dishes and a prune and armagnac tart. And we'll be helping you get ready for the summer with Daniel Clifford as he shares a recipe for barbecued chicken as well. Mr. James Tanner will be here. He's dropping by the hubs, serve it with a mouth-watering plate of lamb rump. Top forager, yes, Alicia Vasey will be back to show us more free food you can forage this season. And don't miss this week's Little Masterclass, where I'll be teaching you everything you want to know and cooking 3 different dishes using squid. But my first guest in the kitchen today is a chef whose career took off when he won the Roux Scholarship. I remember, because I was judging, and he's gone on to even greater heights, and he's just about to open, no, just opened his new stunning place in the Lake District. It's Hrishikesh! Yay! Good to have you on the show. Your first time at the house.
Absolutely.
First of all, we're going to talk about your career as well while you're cooking as well. What a career it's been. And you're just about to set up your new place on your own. Excited?
Very much excited, very much nervous.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think everybody has to take that step. So
your food is amazing anyway. What are you going to be cooking for us today?
For today, I'm going to do a beef Wellington, very classic, but with a twist. It will be spicy.
Quite like that there. A spicy beef Wellington. Sounds pretty good to me. But we're kicking things off today, not with spice, but a celebration of ingredient that can be found all around the fields around here, well, all around the rivers around here. That's watercress. I know you've got this, you've got your own little site now, and you've got this little river, and you're going to have a practice doing the little bit of watercress.
That's correct.
You'll be able to get some hints and tips in a minute, but the first thing we're going to do is going to do watercress butter, watercress soda bread, and watercress and potato soup. Really simple. So first thing we do is we've got our watercress. Now, the great thing about this is the quality of the water down here that denotes the quality of the watercress. But you take this amazing watercress and use it all. I often think this is like well, so people call it the modern version of rocket. It's not. It's been around longer than rocket. But this stuff is amazing. And I think way better than rocket as well. It's the packs a punch, so much flavour, so much water as well, particularly when you get the fresh stuff. And I'm just going to stick it straight in the blender. This is for our 2 dishes. We're going to do the soda bread and the butter. So all I'm going to do is just pop this on here and just blend this. So we're just going to turn this up a bit, and you'll end up with this nice little paste. All gets blended down. Now, because the great thing about this, as opposed to the roquette, a lot of the farmed roquette you get nowadays isn't very strong in pepperiness, is it, really?
Not at all, no.
You have to get that really good organic sort of stuff, and it's not the same as the proper Italian, the rucola you get. But this one, really, we're going to do this little bit of bread first of all. So 2 different types of flour, a little bit of plain flour, a little bit of gram flour, which we've got in here. Then I've got some buttermilk. That's going to go in there. There we go. And then a good pinch of salt. That's going to go there. And a little bit of bicarb. That sits in here. That all gets mixed together with a little dollop of your watercress puree, like that. You don't have to be too fancy with this, but that's going to go in there. I'm going to save some of it for our butter. There we go. And just get your hands in, mix this together, and this makes a very, very simple little watercress bread. And you get this amazing flavour for it. I don't know whether you use much watercress in your cooking, do you?
No, not much. But again, like you said, there is a plan to cultivate watercress because we've got a tiny brook running through. And I've been speaking with our kitchen gardener about it. So now I know what to do.
This is what you can do when you've got your own place in it now. You can experiment with different places.
And the bread that you've done, Irish soda, watercress soda bread, is one of my favourites. So easy to do.
I think it's done. That's it. Like you say, it's done. And if you've got a pizza oven or a wood-fired oven like that, it's great coming out of the wood-fired oven. But this will give you a little insight of what it takes to produce your watercress, because we're going to go down the road now, and I say literally down the road because watercress is produced all around where I live now, and there's 2 main rivers, the River Itchen, the River Test, where you get this amazing chalk filtered water from, this beautiful water that they utilise, but a lot of it's from natural springs and stuff like that. But we're going to go to Alsford, which is at about sort of 12 miles in that direction, to speak to Rachel Peppett from the Westley Farm. So, Rachel, good to have you on the show.
Hello.
So tell me how it all started then. How did it all start? Because the farm shop for you is relatively new, in it, really? As in you took it over?
Yes, I took it over about 2.5 years ago. I live just up the road, and I've always seen it and loved it, and just thought, well, let's just take a try. And so, yes, I bought it in lockdown 2.5 years ago.
You've got the farm shop, and then you've got this bit behind you. So tell me how the watercress works. How do you actually get watercress in the first place?
Yeah, so the shop is very much dependent on the watercress being grown. And I've got a lovely farmer, Mervyn Smith, who farms the cress for me. He's sadly not here today. But basically, the water comes up from the aquifer below and comes through all the lovely cracks in the land underneath, flows through the watercress. All the vitamins and minerals in that lovely water you mentioned come through and flow out into the River Itchen.
So harvest-wise, it's unlike sort of crops that we see on land and, well, in the fields, really. You're getting probably, what, 4 crops a year out of the watercress?
Yeah, well, it depends because this is all cut and sown by hand. So it's a lot less than you would normally have if it was done by machinery. But there's probably 4 to 6 crops per year per bed, which are rotated. And they're just cut by hand and then stored on ice and taken to the local shops and anywhere else it's sold.
So tell me about, you've got the watercress, and I mean, talk about labour intensive. It's seeded by hand, but it's pebbles. So underneath where you see behind us is very similar to what you're stood on, isn't it? Really, it's pebbles.
Otherwise, they would all just go away with the water. So they are seeded like you're feeding chickens. You just go like this along the beds, just like that, and that's all it is to it in terms of the sowing.
And then the harvesting side of it, again, labour intensive, all done by hand.
Yes, absolutely. All cut with a knife by hand and then bunched up into bunches and sold.
I mentioned the fact that we've got that connection between Rocket and stuff, but watercress has been around for years and years and years. I mean, very famous where you are now in Alresford. You've got the way you can tell us about the steam train that used to go to London, but they used to sell these as not bunches of flowers in London. They used to sell it as snacks. Like they would sell ice cream and stuff like that. They would go up to London and they would sell it on street corners, bunches of watercress from Hampshire, wouldn't they?
If you see just behind me, actually, that is the old watercress line. So the trains used to stop and the crates used to go up onto the train and then they went up to London, stopping at all the watercress beds along the way. And so the shop became, well, it started as an honesty box and then became a little shack. And now it's a proper farm shop where we sell a lot of, well, mostly watercress-based goods and lots of other local producers.
We're just going to recap over here. I've got my bread in the oven cooking away because I love cooking bread like this in a wood-fired oven. But you can see you just got the bread cooking away nicely on the tray like that. I've got my butter, which is just done. It's watercress and butter. That's it. You can add some lemon juice and bits and pieces to it, but that's it. This freezes really, really well. But that with the bread as well is excellent. Watercress soup. If you are going to do watercress soup, what I do is I cook the potatoes beforehand. So I'd rather use nothing that's too waxy with potatoes. I think that creates this really waxy, sort of pasty sort of soup as well. So just boil peeled potatoes. You can steam them as well if you wanted to. And all I do is bring the milk up to the boil, like that. And I've got the leftover bits of gubbins in here from the blender. And hopefully you can see that, Rachel, to make sure I'm doing it properly.
Yep.
But then I've got these bunches of watercress. And then this is where I add the watercress now. I don't put it in the pan. I put it in now. Because watercress, if you do overcook it, can go brown, like most salads and bits and pieces. So we're just going to take that and pop it into our blender and then get this going. And it doesn't take very long at all, so I'll just have to be quiet for a minute, because we're going to blend this quite quickly, but... and by adding the watercress to this and blending it for a good minute, you'll see it turn really nice and green. And then once you've blended it enough, look, you then take that, and you've got your beautiful...
So easy.
Honestly,
so easy.
Watercress and potato soup is just delicious. It really, really is. Plenty of black pepper. And I don't know about you, Rishi, but I always think with soup particularly, it's the salt.
Correct.
I think you need... People do this. Soup needs salt. I mean, it does need salt, so put plenty of salt in it, like that. We mix this together. You can enrich it with a little bit of butter if you wanted to, and then you can warm this up. And then this is when you freeze it. If you are going to make it, freeze it now, not before. But you saw how quick and easy it is to do. Really simple. And then you can just warm it up. And the great thing about potato and watercress soup, you can serve this cold as well. Doesn't have to be hot. We can pop that in here. And then we can garnish that. Hopefully you can see this, Rachel. Make sure I'm doing your watercress justice. But you're doing an amazing job, sir. Next time I'm over, I'm going to pop in and say hi.
I'd love to see you, and I'll show you all the other watercress produce we've got.
It's fantastic. I may bring this bread with me as well, but hopefully you can see it. You've got this beautiful bit of soda bread, like that, with the watercress. And then, like what I would do, serve it with a little bit of watercress butter on the side. There we have it. Watercress 3 ways. Easy as that. Now you know where it comes from.
Well done. Yeah.
Get farming. Done.
Thank you. Yay.
Thank you very much, Rachel. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.
That was easy, wasn't it? And it's quite interesting. You're going to have a go at sort of producing this and growing this.
I'm going to have a trial.
Yeah.
And
You learnt a bit in the last sort of 8-10 minutes?
Absolutely. That was a good masterclass.
It's the stones is the key, really.
The stones is the key.
Otherwise, you put all the seeds in and they all clear off down the river.
Absolutely. So we'll have a play with it, but we'll see how far it goes. But this one...
Well, we'll get you back on and see whether you've got watercress up in the Lake District, but it's really nice. Really tasty.
So good.
Really tasty. Really easy, isn't it? Nice and tasty.
So simple to do.
There you go. Right, Rish will be cooking for us next, and I'll be joined in the kitchen by my guest, Debra Stephenson, very shortly. But don't go anywhere, because after the break, we'll be looking ahead to the barbecue season with a recipe for the amazing chef, Mr. Daniel Clifford. I'll see you after the break. Welcome back. Now, coming up, I'll be giving you a lesson in cooking squid in this week's Little Masterclass, and comedian Debra Stephenson will be enjoying 3 dishes that I'm going to cook in 10 minutes. But before that, it's time now for a little lesson in barbecue chicken from a certain 2-star Michelin chef, Daniel Clifford. So while you enjoy this one, I'm going to get my flat cap, my ferret, and do the stereotypical Yorkshire pose.
So today, I'm cooking a grilled and roasted St. Bride's chicken. But first of all, we're going to brine it. So the way to make the brine, take a litre of water, 100 grams of salt, warm the water until the salt is completely dissolved, and then add your pine. Add your pine at a warm temperature. And you've got to make sure it's Douglas fir, because some pines are poisonous, but Douglas fir is completely safe. Cling film it and let it go completely cold so the oil out of the pine goes into the water and you get this fragrant brine which is going to season your bird and keep it moist during cooking. So now what we do is we take the chicken, we submerge that into the brine, make sure it's completely covered, and what I'm going to do is let that rest in the brine in the fridge for 12 hours. Chicken's been in the fridge for 12 hours. Remove the bird from the brine. Place him on a cooling rack. So now we're going to remove the Douglas fir from the chicken. Make sure you get every little bit off and don't wash it under the tap because you'll be removing all that flavour. So once I've picked off all of the Douglas fir, I'm going to place the bird on the tray in the fridge, completely natural, for the skin to dry to help crisp up the skin during the cooking process. So chicken's just come out of the fridge. It's been in there for 12 hours. What we're going to do now is put some oil under the skin to help it crisping up. Take my fingers and work them between the skin and the breast, very gently. This is where I take my prepare, and this is peanut oil, because peanut oil helps crisp up the skin. This will help the skin fry to get a really nice crisp texture. And then just massage that oil in all around the chicken, folding the skin underneath. The hay that's been soaked in the beer That's going to go inside the chicken. And obviously, because it's soaked in the beer, that means it's going to steam from the inside out. So you're getting steam inside, which is going to stop the chicken drying out so quickly. Just make sure that's quite firm inside. Now we've got a steel rod that's going to go up through the hay. It comes out near the neck. So that's my spit through the chicken. Now I'm going to tie it up, ready for the barbecue. If you double up your string, start with your legs, go round the outside of your first leg, pull that in tight, go round the outside of your second leg, and then cross it over so the legs join in the middle. Pull the string down over the legs, turn it over, and then you have your arms. And the trick is, this is where you tighten it up. It stays nice and firm onto your spit. So tighten that up really nicely. Turn him over. Just take a little bit more oil from your pipette. Drizzle that over. This will help brown up the meat really nicely. So that's it. The chicken is ready for the barbecue. I'm going to take you outside because I've got one already cooking. The chicken's now been cooking for 35 minutes at 170 degrees. And as you can see, it's starting to colour perfectly. So what I'm going to do is grab the chicken, quickly turn it over, and just check it with my fingers. That's perfectly cooked. The skin started to colour, but the trick to get a perfectly brown chicken is this is cooked at 170 to keep it really nice and moist. I'm now going to take it into the kitchen and put it through a very hot oven at 300 degrees to get a perfectly brown chicken ready for the table. So the chicken has been resting for 15 minutes. What I'm going to do now is remove the spit. The chicken now is going to go in the oven at 300 degrees for 3 minutes to crisp up the skin. Chicken is cooked. Got some beautiful vegetables. Just going to put that on the outside. Bought a special plate in from home. Just got to remove the string from the cooking. So there we go. Barbecue and roasted chicken with seasonal vegetables, brined in pine. That's Sunday lunch, the best I can do.
Great dish, that. I couldn't find my flat cap or my ferret. Right, still to come, Chef Hrishikesh we're treating us to a tandoori beef Wellington, and top forager Alicia Vasey will be telling us what's in season now in our hedgerows. But I'll see you back here in a couple of minutes while we're making not one, not two, but 3 different dishes for comedian Debra Stephenson. I'll see you after the break. Welcome back. Now, coming up, Hrishikesh Desai will be making his debut behind these very hobs, and I'll be giving you a masterclass in how to prepare and cook squid in this morning as well. But first, I'm here with an actor, an impressionist, whose career has taken her from the cobbles of Corrie to stand-up comedy clubs up and down the country. It's the brilliant Debra Stephenson! Ching, ching, ching. Great to have you at the house as well, Ching.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you, because I keep seeing you on TV over the years and think, we've never actually met. Don't think of any of these.
Yeah, no, it's
events.
weird, isn't it? Because I feel like I know you. And
I feel like I know you as well.
Well, we're not from that far apart of the neck of the woods, you know.
Close.
Yorkshire and Yorkshire. I'm from the East Riding, don't you know?
Yes, the fancy bit.
Yeah,
Oh, without the H.
yeah, near to Beverley, you know.
Near to Beverley, you know.
Yeah.
But so I know you love your food, so I'm going to do 3 dishes, also Asian influence as well, because I know you like the Asian influence with using aubergines. We're going to deep fry one and do it with a miso caramel. Do one with a little ponzu. It sounds really fancy. It's just basically all about the dressing more than anything else. And then the other one is more like a pesto, like an Asian-style pesto, which we blend. So rather than use basil, we use mint and coriander and lime, and this is a little bit of coconut palm sugar, that kind of stuff, and blend it in a food processor. But first thing we're going to get on and do this sort of... this is a simple little dish, really, but it's one that you can easily do at home. OK, this is a little bit of sake. This is a little bit of rice wine vinegar or a little bit of mirin that we're going to put in there as well. And then predominantly this is sugar. So a little bit of sugar. That all goes in there. So, I mean, I don't know where to start with your career, really, because, you know, reading about you and all the stuff you've been doing, you were performing very, very young.
Yes.
How did that come about? Because when you were young, were you doing that bit... How did that happen?
I don't know. I always knew that I wanted to be on the stage ever since I saw the Wombles when I was about 4, and they invited the kids
I saw the
up.
Wombles, but I didn't want to be on stage.
No, I didn't know. Oh, yeah, but did you see them live, and did they invite all the kids onto the stage? Because I got onto the stage, and that was it. I was kind of lost in the energy of it all and the spotlight and everything, and I just knew. It's like I always just knew I wanted to do some kind of performance ever since that day.
So how did that, you know, progress to then doing that as a living then? Because, you know, back then you had talent shows, and I suppose you've got an Opportunity Knock's been the biggest ever, I suppose, in terms of, if you relate it to talent shows now, it's nothing compared with what Opportunity Knocks used to be. Because 19 million people used to watch this. It's like 20 million.
Something crazy like that. I think there were 20 million watching the final of Opportunity Knocks when I did it. So, yeah, it's a lot of people, and it did get a lot of publicity. But like most talent shows, you do it, it's a big hoo-ha, and then the following year, the next lot of people are getting the hoo-ha, and, you know, it's all very quiet again. So, you know, you kind of go back to square one, really. Nowadays, I think people get recording contracts and all sorts from things, from shows, but
what was the spin-off for you from it, really? Because you were very young then as well.
Yeah, I was just really young, and then I went back to school and tried to do my GCSEs and realised that I put everything into my impressions and the talent shows and the working men's clubs and things like that I was doing, and I just, didn't do very well at school at all. But drama school was good because it sent me off in another direction, you know, into acting.
But the comedy circuit, if you're going to pick a career, that's a tough career.
Yeah. I mean, especially as a kid, I think. I know when I was doing working men's clubs and social clubs kind of as a kid, you know, so it was... People realised that I was a kid that had been on Opportunity Knocks, so in general, I didn't get... The audiences weren't too tough. And then when I went as a 17-year-old up to the Edinburgh Festival, I did open spots there that first year, and the people at the Fringe Club were getting ashtrays thrown at them, you know. So I was a bit frightened, but I thought, well, if I can do this, you know, that should build up my confidence to be able to do anything, really. So,
which brings us on to the tour, then. So tell us about the tour. You've just started the tour. Tell us about it, then, because this is not your first tour, but
no.
Why was the decision to go again? Because it is a big decision to go out on the road.
Yeah, it is. It definitely is. But, yeah, I wanted to just build on what I'd done in Edinburgh at the festival. I just really enjoy getting in front of audiences because with the show that I do, I think it's a bit like your show. You just have an absolutely fantastic time, and it's all about just feeling good, and laughing and going back to the music that we all have enjoyed over the decades. So when I started doing impressions when I was a kid, my first record that I ever had was a Kate Bush, Wuthering Heights. And I used to mess around copying her. I was only about 6 or 7, something like that. And my grandma also had a collection of gramophone records that she had... Everything from Shirley Bassey, Judy Garland, and then she had, you know, 60s Lulu, Cilla Black, all of that. So I thought, you know, that I kind of was a sponge, you know, and I kind of soaked up all those voices.
But you were doing voices for shows for quite young. Talk about Spitting Image. How young were you on Spitting Image?
Well, I sent my cassette tape in. This is how far back we're going. I sent my cassette tape in when I was about 16, and they actually listened to it.
Right.
And Kate Robbins, who was the voice at the time of all the women on Spitting Image at that particular point in time, was off having a baby, and they said, come in and do some voices for us. So I did a couple of episodes doing Esther Ranson, and here we've got a carrot that looks like, well, let's say we've got an aubergine today that looks like an aubergine.
How old were you when you were doing that?
Well, that was one that I'd been doing since I was a kid, and was 16 doing that one on Spitting Image. And you know that Spitting Image is currently a stage show, and I'm one of the voices in that.
Really?
Yeah, it's really good actually.
So the tour you're just about to go on you're just on the road. The tour goes from when to when?
Well, from
Or is it one of these tours
April.
that they book you and then you just keep going and going and going? Because that's what usually happens.
Well, yeah, I mean, it could get extended, you never know. But I will be going on holiday halfway through. So, yeah, I'm going up to the end of June. So from now and up to the end of June. And all over the place from little places, actually. Wimborne, Chipping Norton, and then Chorley, I think, is where I finish. So going up to Scarborough.
And are you going to we're going to see you in films again? Because, you know, keep seeing you in films and television. You've got to mention Corrie. I mean, that was...
I've only done one film, and that's Give Them Wings. And that's a really nice film, actually, that we did in Darlington.
Right.
Yeah.
What about Corrie, then? Because, you know, to get a film...
That was a long time ago.
I know, but I've got to say, but as a northerner, you've got to mention it.
Right,
I mean,
okay,
even if my name gets mentioned on Corrie or on Emmerdale, it's bigger than anything else that I've ever done in my life.
Right, well, yeah, I mean, I'm sure they'd love to have you, you know, on Emmerdale. You're a local lad, aren't you?
No, I don't know about that, but anyway. Look, we've got a little...
You get a cameo, definitely.
Well, this is our nice little bit of pesto. So this is our simple little pesto, the aubergines. There we go. Grill these ones out of here. The other ones we've got...
question.
You can ask a
Do you
question.
salt your aubergines?
Don't need to anymore. So, aubergines are technically a hybrid. So they've had all the salt bred out of them.
Right, OK.
So you don't need to soak them in milk anymore.
Is that what people used to do, soak them in milk?
Yeah, well, soak them in milk and salt because they get rid of the bitterness.
Yeah.
But you don't need to do that anymore because
No.
they've had all the hybrid aubergines that they grow now, and all the aubergines. Most of the aubergines you get nowadays are grown in polytunnels in Holland and stuff like that. But this is just so simple.
That looks good. And what would you serve that with?
I would just do it. You can do it with red chilli, lime, like that. Just fresh red chilli.
Yeah. Mind your fingers.
Fresh red chilli, a little bit of lime, a little bit of mint, like that.
Oh, nice.
Over the top.
Yeah.
And then just some olive oil.
Yeah, and maybe some rice if you like your carbs. I like carbs.
And maybe some rice if I had some in front of me, but I don't have any rice.
No, we don't need it now, but, you know, I'm just thinking about taking this home.
I would have it with chips, to be honest with you. But that's that. And then this one, really nice and simple. This is our aubergines over here. And you can take these, pop them into a bowl. And this is with this amazing yuzu ponzu. You know, I said to you about that yuzu juice, which is this citrusy sort of stuff.
Oh, yeah, the yuzu.
So I've made a little dressing. If you dip your finger in there, taste that.
That is amazing.
That is...
It's so nice. It's kind of salty, but also bitter and also sweet. It's like everything.
It's just... It's an amazing, really, really simple little dressing that you make. I'll just recap it. It's got this yuzu juice, which you can buy... You can get this in the supermarket. I've seen it, and people just walk past it. It's the Asian section of a supermarket, and you'll get that. You walk past it, and you'll get yourself some really good soy sauce. My advice is, if you can't get the really mega stuff, you go Japanese soy. So Japanese soy is different. Japanese soy is what you put on your sushi. That kind of stuff is different flavour to the sort of Chinese soy sauce as well.
But, and it's made of soya beans.
Yes.
And...
Fermented, some not. Yeah. And obviously, the more sort of, I suppose, the more bigger the manufacturer, the more commercial it becomes, and the diluted flavour that you get. But you get a very different thing. If you take normal soy sauce, see, I never get to do this on this show, but I get to taste things like this in its raw state before I cook them.
Great.
But this is a mega soy sauce. So this is, you've probably not tasted soy like this before.
It looks like the business.
But this is different again.
Yeah, that's amazing. I'll tell you what, it's quite kind of meaty. So, you know, if you're vegetarian or vegan and you don't eat meat and you can sometimes find things are a bit unfulfilling, that is
the one to go for. But
isn't it?
Yeah, you can take that bottle home with you.
Thank you.
But you're going to stick around. We're going to chat to her about the tour as well later on. I'll be cooking some dessert for you later on the show. But there you have it. My sort of 3 dishes, all sort of Asian flavours, all using aubergines. Done. Right, these are the miso caramel aubergines.
Oh,
I want to taste these because these are amazing with this over the top. When you taste these, they're just in deep fried. They're absolute, one of my favourites. These, whether you just have them as a snack like that, you can serve them with a piece of fish, bit of chicken. They're amazing. And you literally just straight in the fryer. You don't need to take them out and salt them. You just straight in the fryer.
It's weird because there's almost a banana type association
It's
with
the
them.
texture in it, yeah.
Yeah.
Bananas and everything. That's your Asian sort of pesto with the
go
roasted
for
one.
this.
And then taste these ones with that ponzu-y sort of one as well. But I think they're just really...
I like the word ponzu. It's like a Miranda Hart word, isn't it?
Ponzu.
Oh, I like the word ponzu.
Ponzu one, but take that.
Let's try some ponzu.
But you need the limey sort of stuff with that.
The lime. So you've squeezed the lime on as well.
Yeah. Good so far? Amazing flavour you get from just little sort of potions, and you get this amazing kick from it as well.
And completely different to that one,
Totally
even though they
different.
look similar.
Totally different as well. There we go. Right, I'll be rustling a prune and armagnac tart up for Deborah at the end of the show. And Mr. James Tanner will be back and dropping by the house very shortly. But join us after the break. We've got an amazing chef putting an Indian spin on a classic beef Wellington. You don't want to miss that one. It's going to taste amazing. See you after the break. Welcome back. Now, I'll be sharing the secrets of cooking and preparing squid in this week's Little Masterclass. But first, I'm joined in the house by a chef, Mr. James Tanner, and together we're going to enjoy a dish from a former winner of the Roux Scholarship who's worked in some of the best restaurant kitchens around the globe that I know of before setting up shop in his very own place in the Lake District. It's Rishi Desai! Right, great to have you in the show, Chef.
Thank you so much.
Purely the fact that I've never seen anybody use as many bowls and as many pans they're about to use. So I didn't realise I had this many in my cupboards, but what are we going to be doing?
Well, now you know you've got so many bowls, which
Thank
are
you.
brilliant.
What are we going to be
What we're
making?
going to do is beef Wellington, but with a twist.
Right.
I'm going to marinate the beef in tandoori spices. 2 ways, dry tandoori spice, and then with the wet tandoori spice, we're going to make a sauce.
Right.
So it's a spin on a classic.
The kitchen is all yours.
Thank you.
I'm going to be your commie chef. Tell me what I'm supposed to be doing.
Perfect. If you can get me a bowl, and then we'll start quickly
I can
mixing
get your bowl.
with the spices. So for the dry mix, we need red chili, which is very mild.
Right.
Okay. A little bit of cardamom, coriander, a bit of turmeric, not too much turmeric into tandoori spice.
Yeah.
Saffron, that's going to give the color.
Yeah.
Okay. So finally, we finish this with a little bit of ground peppercorns, and that's it.
Ground peppercorns.
That's it.
Two chefs over here are going to nick that recipe.
I'm taking notes.
You're going to take that one, yeah, exactly.
And all you got to do is just sprinkle this through.
Now, this is a little fillet of beef. I'm assuming this is just cut down fillet of beef,
This is
rather
a
than
cut
a bit
down.
of Dexter or something like that.
This one is the longhorn beef,
Right.
and then I've got something that I did yesterday. So that's how it will look like after 24 hours marination.
After it goes in the fridge.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then this is how it will look like. And then what we're going to do is we're going to cook this straight onto a barbecue.
Right.
So a little bit of oil straight on the top. Here we are. And then all you got to do is...
Yeah. And just to let everyone know, we got a barbecue, but there is tons of open windows and doors upstairs as well. It's so well ventilated, but off you go.
That's it.
It's going in there.
Simple as that.
All right, OK.
OK.
So while the beef is on there, we're going to do this sauce. What,
that's correct.
What do we need for our sauce, or
So
what can
for
I
the
pass
sauce, if you can pass me the beef, the onions, the beef trimmings,
over? Yep.
all that big butter,
Yeah.
my
Spices.
favorite, spices, cloves, again, black peppercorns. That's going to give the flavour. And then I just need the ginger and garlic paste,
That's that one.
and that's that one.
So winning the Roux Scholarship, what was it, 2009?
A long time back, 2009.
Yeah, exactly, 2009. You end up, the amazing thing about that competition, you get to pick whichever restaurant you want to work at. Where did you choose?
I went to the French Laundry in California.
Wow.
And it was a dream come true. I read the French Laundry cookbook.
Yeah.
But then I just said to myself while I was reading the book, one day or other I should go and eat there, or at least do a stage. And I got a chance to do both, thanks to the Roux Scholarship.
Yeah, this is the amazing restaurant in the Napa Valley, but, you know, it's Thomas Keller.
Thomas Keller, 3 stars.
Yeah, 3 stars there, but also 3 stars at Per Se, the one in New York as well.
So this is looking really good. Well,
Yeah.
right. All we want is to sear the beef. We don't want it to cook through.
Right.
And then this will go into the fridge or a blast chiller if you're at home, and then let it chill nicely. Thank you.
In there again, right? So you worked in all these restaurants. You do the Roux Scholarship. You win it. Now this is your own place. Tell us about this amazing place, because this is two Americans that have suddenly decided to buy a place in the UK.
That's correct.
And do it all up for you. The building sounds amazing. The place sounds amazing.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, I've just taken over Farnham Hall, which is in Brampton, near Carlisle. So it's a beautiful country house hotel. And now is my chance to be as a chef patron to progress with food and beverage. So let's see how it goes.
So this is going to be one of the dishes that's on the menu, is it, really?
It's on the menu, and it's one of the most popular dishes on the menu.
It's going to be a lot more popular when people see this. I've seen the one that's just come out of the oven, but... Right, so once we caramelise the beef, what next?
Beef, onions, just sweat them down a little bit. You can get the sweet flavour from the onions.
Yeah.
All I want to do is add all that butter straight in there.
Yep.
And then just wait for it to melt. As soon as it starts foaming, I'm going to add the ginger garlic paste, the spices, and then we'll finish with the stocks.
Well, I'll carry on and do the sauce, and you can crack on and do the Wellington side of it then. Why don't you do that then?
Thank you.
You can explain to us what's going on with the Wellington, because I'll crack on and do this. So we've got the spices going in.
That's correct, yeah.
Yeah. All of them?
All of them, please, thank you.
All of them like that. So what do you want out of the fridge? What have you got in here? Pancakes?
Pancakes.
So I'll pop the stocks in, and then only 45 minutes you're going to cook that for?
That is correct. All we want to do is extract the flavour from the spices, and we are done. So,
right, that's that one. Cook it for that, you end up with that, OK?
Perfect. So this is the way.
You can smell it. You can smell it. Really, really great.
Do you know what I'm noticing? The smell, but I'm noticing the amount of stuff in front of us are going down, which is also what I'm noticing. Right.
Cool. Right, so for the Wellington, you'll need the beef.
There's the beef.
Thank you very much. Need pancakes. Simple recipe for the pancakes, savoury pancakes. You can cook them in advance.
Yep.
And then what we need is a bit of mushroom paste or duxelle, classic way. A little bit of egg wash. But the big thing is the puff pastry.
Puff pastry's in the fridge.
In the fridge.
Nice and chilled.
Thank you. So, right.
Down and off.
Just leave this in here for a moment.
I always say if you want a beef Wellington, get somebody else to do it. James Tanner. Especially on camera.
There you go. Yeah, I know. It's a big one to do, actually.
You're brave doing this.
You
I'll tell you
are.
the
Do you
first
know
time...
what? I was thinking that, to be honest.
Tell you, when he comes back on again, it'll be something much more simpler.
Yeah.
Watch this space, but go on.
So, let's start.
No pressure. It's
No
fine.
pressure at all. OK, pancake.
I often think when you're watching people do this, you want to sort of time-lapse it rather than just stand there and watch it like this. Just see how it all comes together.
Mushroom duxelle. Be brave.
So the mushroom duxelle, the key to this, you've got to make sure it's dry, haven't you, really?
It's dry, because as soon as you you chop the mushrooms, the amount of liquid is going to release while you're cooking. So just keep on cooking until you get a paste, and once it's cold, it will just come nicely together.
Yeah.
OK. So just going to flatten this duxelle, spread as evenly as possible. OK.
How many of these do you think you do a day at the moment, Richard?
Around 20. So
how many do you think you're going to do when this show finishes?
I have no idea.
That was my next point.
I think my chefs are going to hate me.
I don't think they're going to be too impressed with you, to be honest with you.
I'd times this by 4.
Exactly.
So, mushroom duxelle on, OK. Up goes the beef, as simple as possible. Just roll the whole thing nicely.
And the pancakes are there to protect it and stop it. The
Pancakes
pastry
will
from
be
going
there
wet
just
from sweating,
to protect, and any moisture will be trapped
Yeah.
nicely in there. And then I'm just going to add egg wash again to the pastry so that it sticks perfectly. And that's about it. It's not hard as it seems.
You make it look easy, Richard.
And this goes.
You can tell that to your chefs when you get about 60 of these a day, when you've got to make.
They will be happy, I think so. I'm just going to cut this part.
So the key to it is you don't want too much pastry underneath.
Not
it,
at all,
really?
no, not at all. And the rest of the pastry, if you want to use your cutters or decoration, lattice, whatever you want to do, you can go ahead with it.
Nice.
But I'm just going to keep it
There you go.
there. Now, I'm going to
Keep that in
trim
the fridge.
this. trim this. So again, do not throw this. You can use it for whatever you want. Right. And as we come in here, with the help of the scissors, cut, cut. So you can fold, okay? No need for any egg wash or anything like that in there. Same up in here. And then fold, fold, and fold.
So like you say, you can take the remaining bit of pastry, roll it out, and then if you want to do lattice over the top and that kind of stuff, you can tidy it all up.
Absolutely. So that part is over.
Yep.
And now the next one is to make sure that this is really nice and tight. So we're going to wrap it in a cling film. If you don't have a cling film, just use muslin cloth. But before you use the muslin cloth, put a greaseproof paper so that it doesn't stick. That's it.
Yeah.
So here's the cling film, and all I got to do is put this straight up in here, and then just roll it into as tight as possible. That's it.
You can tell you've spent years in fine dining places, you.
Into the fridge.
In the fridge?
Please rest this into the fridge for
Yeah.
at least 2 to 3 hours before you want to
Egg
attempt
wash,
cooking.
hot oven, about
Egg wash.
220?
220, and internal temperature for cooking should be 33 to 34 degrees. That will be rare,
Yeah.
and by the time it rests, it should go into pink.
Right, so
And
I've got a pan on here. What we're doing the rest of it, I'll have a clear up for you.
Thank you so much.
What's next?
So the rest is to some
got
garnishes.
Yep.
And then we're going to use some carrots, asparagus, which are in season, a little bit of mushroom, peas, and then what I've done is I've got some crispy onions for the garnish.
Yeah.
Okay. Mushrooms, in they go.
So this is the little garnish that we're going to do
Little
with it.
garnish, vegetables to go around. Once you put the mushrooms in, don't be tempted to shake them too much. In go our asparagus, which is already blanched. Same is the case with the peas. And then these lovely
And
carrots.
these peas, you've peeled the peas.
Absolutely. That's the fun part.
6 months later, after you're home, you come back here and tell me you're paying somebody to pod the peas.
Not at all. I've done it by myself, and I swear I've done it.
Double podded pea.
Double potted peas.
And then we're gonna. This is the Wellington that we've got that's been out. So this you leave it to rest.
Just so you leave it at least 10 minutes, so all the juices and everything, they just come up, they become really nice and tidy.
I'll let you lift that off. There you go.
Okay, and again, all the at the bottom, nicely cooked.
Yeah.
Not soggy at all. Perfect. So this is ready to go.
So you've got your
So we just
puree.
need to shift it.
You've got your 2 plates over here.
Thank you.
Yeah. And do you want the larger plate to put the rest of it on, or?
Yeah, please. So
So?
2 ways, chefy style, Sunday lunch style, whichever way you want to do it.
Chefy style, Sunday lunch style. Do you want me to season these for you?
I have already done
Okay.
with salt and pepper, which I think should be enough and generous. That's for the chefy style.
The stage is yours.
Thank you. Okay, so while you're waiting, can you please put this puree into the bowl? Thank you.
In a bowl.
Thank you so much. God, I'm instructing James.
This is James Tanner you're cooking for. You don't need it in a bowl. Just serve it in a pan. It'll be fine with it.
Give me a spoon, it'll be right.
Right?
Oh, look at those. So our kitchen garden, again, we grow our own peas, spring peas.
Okay.
Broad beans, carrots, 3 different kinds of carrots, 4 different kinds of beetroots. I didn't even know that there was that many kinds of beetroot before.
Yeah.
And most of the stuff that is coming in here is from that's chefy style. And then the rest of the vegetables in that bowl again, please.
In that bowl as well.
Thank you so much.
You're getting looked after today. Trust me.
Brilliant. So that's crispy onions.
That's crispy onions. Chop the onions and then literally mix it with corn flour and a bit of turmeric.
Right.
180 degrees the oil. Fry them and then spread and allow to dry, and that's it. And if you think it's too much work, just go and buy them. It's easier.
Says the guy who peels the pea. Go on then. Right.
Right. So
everybody's waiting for this money shot with the sauce and everything else.
Absolutely.
Rishi.
Thank you.
There's your puree.
It's my puree.
They're good crispy onions, though.
They're good crispy onions.
Yeah, they are.
There we go. The rest can go into...
I'm not putting that in a bowl.
No, thank you.
I haven't got any bowls left.
And then okay. So we can just stir the gravy. Right, money shot then. There we are.
Right, I'll step out of the way.
There we are. Perfectly nice
Boom,
and roast.
look at that.
Okay, and you can clearly see the oil from the spices that come through. Okay.
There's a reason why you won the Roux Scholarship, isn't there?
Is it because I can cook Wellington or...
You can cook, Chief.
Yeah,
that's what you can do.
That's unreal.
Look at that.
bit of rock salt. Please make sure that you season your beef before you serve it. Tiny bit in there.
I'll put one on there.
Thank you. That's another one straight up in here.
Some sauce when you put it on that one.
Some sauce.
I'll lift that one, put it on there.
Which will be, again, as chefs, we want to show our cuisine, so we're just going to pour it.
While I reach that one, you can tell us the name of this dish then.
So, simple. It's a beef Wellington with a twist. So it's tandoori-style beef Wellington. And then I've served it with a little bit of pommes puree, potato mash, carrot, and then some vegetables, seasonal vegetables. And that's about it. It's as simple.
It's that simple. Good luck with that one at home. Rishi, everybody. There we have it. Your mashed potato. You're looking forward to this, aren't you?
No, big time.
Your vegetables as well.
Brilliant.
How many of these are you making a day?
Around 40 for the moment.
I can't wait to have a phone call with you next week.
Yep. Wow.
Yeah, that's brilliant, isn't it?
You can taste all the individual spices, don't you? I like you've got the clove element coming through as well.
How did you do that? That sauce is fantastic.
It's the spices. Don't add wine. Do not add wine to it. It's simple. It's exactly red wine sauce.
Without the red wine?
Without the red wine. Everybody thinks that it's going to be chilly. It's going to be harsh, but it's just how you use them and the cooking. When you cook the spice, it's the oils that are released, and they are the ones which is giving all the flavour.
Yeah.
Yes, so...
Rishi,
yeah.
everybody, how good is that?
Thank you.
That is spectacular. Right, we're making a dessert. I'll try and top trump that, but I'm going to struggle with a prune and almond tart for my guest, Debra Stephenson, later on this morning. But join us after the break, because we've got a friend of the show, Alicia Vasa, will be back. I'll see you after the break. Welcome back. Now I'll be chatting some more to former Corrie and Dead Ringer star Debra Stephenson a little bit later. And we've got a masterclass in squid coming right up. But first, I've been joined again by a Yorkshire lass from the moors near Halifax. Have we got that right this time?
Aye, eventually.
Not Donny this time.
Halifax, you didn't even have to mention
Halifax. Oh. Anyway, she's down in Hampshire now, before she kicks off, to share more secrets with her foraging. It's Alicia Vasa! And, of course, we've got Mr. James Tanner and Rishi here as well. So, right, what are you brought with you? You always bring with you carrier bags of stuff. But this time, we've got all the guys here, and I thought I'm going to cook something as well.
Ooh.
I'm going to cook 2 dishes.
I know, I've been promoted. I'm in the hot place.
Well, we
now,
got the
it's in a
King's
cold
coronation,
place.
so I thought I'd do a crown of lamb. And it's one of the dishes that I used to do when I was... first dish I cooked for royal family when I was 10 years old, was this dish. So
Yeah,
we're going
look at
to do... Oh, exactly.
Hey.
So we're going to do a crown of lamb, and I'm going to stuff it with some lamb mince, some mushrooms, some breadcrumbs and onions and that kind of stuff. And then I'm going to utilise some of this amazing sort of forage stuff you got over here.
Yep.
Rishi, I'm going to give an arm in with the scallops and bits and pieces. You're going to prep these scallops and,
Brilliant, thank you.
Cook them in the half shell, that kind of stuff. Tell me about this, because I'm going to use this in some of our stuffing with this, with the lamb and everything else. Tell me about this.
Yeah, you like that, don't you?
So tell me about this leek stuff.
Right, so I rocked up to a car park in Manchester and it was going by side on an embankment. I thought, oh, that'll be do. I thought, is it bluebells? No, it's not, it's leek. I test these first so that you don't have to. What it is, it's three-cornered leek. So when you actually look at the leaf pattern and you hold it towards you, you can see it's got 3 distinct points all the way through. And it smells really leaky. And it's really, really good. And it's quite a sweeter taste to it. But the thing about this, if you put this in your garden, it will just take over an area. So it will take over an
If it takes over an area, will it kill everything else that's there, or does it work alongside with what's there?
It works, it more or less takes over, because what happens is, the longer that this gets, it folds over, so it blocks out the sunlight to all the other plants. So that's its survival mechanism. So it just sort of like takes over. If you can do it in, like, you know, like put some barriers actually in the floor, then you can. It's one of those things that you need to contain, because it will just go absolutely crazy.
I'm going to grow this here in the garden.
I'll bring you some down next time.
So what would I do then if I was doing that? I would put some sheeting down.
Shady. Right. Yeah. So you want some tree cover.
Yeah.
All right, and you need like quite well mulch. It likes like a lot of leaf mulch.
Okay.
Plant it in that. Put it on an embankment. Make sure it's going to keep damp. You know, it needs like a damp bank, but it needs to have light coming through.
Yeah.
Once you got that kind of like sorted, if you don't want it to spread, put something in the ground to bury it. You know, like bury it in. Otherwise, it will just grow like mad and it will take over.
And do you buy? Can you buy that from
yeah,
online?
no idea. Got no idea.
You've got no idea. You have to buy it as a root, or can you buy it by a seed?
Yeah, well, I'll just go and get it.
Yeah, I know you go get it, but what are people looking for? If they Google it now, if you go on...
Yeah, go look.
What are they looking for?
Three-cornered leek.
Three-cornered leek.
Three-cornered leek.
How long's the season on it?
Well, this is the best thing about it. Right, so what we do is it has 2 seasons a year.
Right.
Which is fantastic, you know, because, you know, you get fruit wild garlic season, which, depending on what part of the country you're in, you know, depends on lights. Obviously, it comes out in Cornwall a lot earlier than it does in Scotland. But this comes out in January, and it'll come out for about 3 months. But then at the end of the year, it comes out again.
Right.
All right, so you get into October, November, and then you get another flourish of it.
You've got 2 Jameses and a Rishi, big fan of that, aren't we? The leeks, the three-cornered leeks are amazing.
Absolutely, lovely flavour.
It's fantastic, isn't it?
Stunning flavour. Never had it before. Never knew there is a three-cornered leek.
Three-cornered leek.
See?
I know.
So before we go on to the next one, I've just got on a lamb over here. What I've got on here is I've got 2 best ends of lamb, usually 7 to 8 chops, something like that. These are what they call French trim. French trim meaning they've had the bones cleaned and the chine underneath removed. If you put these 2 together and the chines together, this is your saddle of lamb. What you do is, the reason why is the chine's removed, it allows you to cut through and end up with lamb chops. What I've done is make a little cut in here, just a little nick through here as you cut. So when you twist it round, you twist it round into a crown.
Nice.
Like that. And then we're going to tie that up and then use the stuffing for that to go in the middle to hold it all together, and that's going to be that bit. So Rishi's then just going to take the scallops, which we've got on here, some of this amazing butter that we've got, and that's going to go on there. So just with a little bit of string, just tie it up like that, and you've now got a bit of crown roast. So where are we going now in the world, and where are we going with the other bit of greenery? Let's talk about the end bit of greenery as well, because this is amazing.
Right, OK, so gardeners out there will recognise this and think, what on earth has she brought that on for? Because this is like everybody weed killer. It sticks. It's just sort of like, you know, it just gets on you. Look, yeah, don't come off. It wraps around your legs, it goes in your garden and it gets really tough. However, when it's at this time of year and it's quite small, what we've got, it tastes like peas. Absolutely tastes like peas. Have you tried it yet?
No.
Well, you're going to.
Look at his face, just look at his...
There you go, you're on with it.
These like pea shoots.
It is a bit like pea shoots, OK?
Right.
But it tastes... Give it a good old...
You can smell it.
Yeah, give it a good... Yeah, you
can
can smell the peas. So don't get rid of it, use it. So I've done something like really simple. So I've made a pea hummus, but using cleavers. So you might know it as sticky buds in your garden that gets wrapped around your legs, or it's known as goosegrass.
Right.
And I call it... Well, I won't tell you what my mum calls it, but we call it cleavers.
And can you eat that raw?
You can eat that raw.
Okay.
Rishi, have you tried?
Or do you have to wait 5 minutes and see what happens to Mr. Tanner over here?
Your eyes are open. Yeah, of course you can. You don't eat... There you go.
Is it part of the pea family then, or something?
No, it's the Lady Bedstraw family.
These are our scallops. They're about to go in the oven, so end of the grill. So these scallops are going to go in there.
Oh, they look
fantastic. This is the lamb that we've got over here. Seasoned, that's your stuffing in. That can then go in the oven. About 40 minutes, that goes in the oven. That's that one. Next one. Where are we going? So we're going... Let's talk about... let's talk about this one first. This is... Tell us about this, what we got here.
Right, OK, if I can just reach over, which I can't because I'm too short. Right.
What bit do you want?
Oh, yeah. No, I want a really pink one there. Right.
So what are these called?
Baby pink pine cones.
Right.
OK, so these are from the larch tree, and if you know, the larch tree loses its needles in winter.
Yeah.
Right? But what it does in spring...
It's not going off.
Right, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
All right, OK.
There you go, look at that.
There you go.
You ever tasted these before?
No.
Right.
I didn't
About
realize.
to.
Yeah.
So can you see what they come in the end? Right, you know, the proper pine cones, are actually, that's what they start out as.
Yeah.
These little bright pink jewels, and the trees right now are full of them.
How amazing is that? Strong in flavour.
It's lovely flavour.
Yeah? You're not just saying that for telly, are you?
No, not at all, no. Got to get used to it.
Yeah.
I've never tasted something like this before.
Have you not?
No.
Oh, gosh,
Did you-
that's...
Again, didn't even know you can eat pine cones.
Yeah, honestly, I was just going to tootle around your local woods, and you tend to get these on periphery.
So tell us about the last thing we've got then, because usually when on the show we have these pieces of paper that tell you what the guests are coming on and their riders and and all this kind of stuff and what you can and can't do. There's sort of red lines over this show today with this stuff that we've got about 6 foot away from me over here.
Right, OK, so that's gorse. It's wild gorse. Right. And the thing with gorse is it has a coconut compound in it.
Right.
So that's coconut compound in it. So you get coconut fragrance from it. It's actually... The trick is with gorse, it's quite difficult to get the coconut scent and flavour actually to infuse in something. So I've tried it in cordials, I've tried it in teas, but I think it works best with milk. So that's why I've done some moussey type things and some buns which probably aren't best in the world, but they'll be right.
So what do you do with it then? What do you do with it? Do you have to blanch it? What do you do with gorse?
You infuse it in milk.
Right.
All right? You infuse it in milk and it will make some fantastic ice creams. It's like the best ice cream. You know me, if I bring it on, it's because it's got to taste of something.
Right. So what have you done with this, with the gorse then? What have you done with it, yours?
I've made some mousse. Right. I infused some mousse.
Okay.
Do you want to risk it?
I'll give it to sort of Mr. Tanner.
I knew you could.
Don't shake your head. Honestly, I'm not that bad. God, honestly, you best get us one of those spoons in your 65-degree water.
No, there you go. We've got the spoons.
In your posh spoon thing.
There you go. Well, he's got spoons. He's got a spoon pot.
Oh, I didn't know.
Just a little bit.
All right, just crack on. It's not worsting it well. Oh, my God.
There you go.
I think I'm all here to poison you.
You got one. So meanwhile, I've got my vegetables over here. The scallops are not far off.
What? Oh, that's all right.
Oh, it's all right, isn't it? You're not going to die, are you?
No, it's not.
It's got white chocolate in it.
It's not.
That's yummy.
It's not.
Hey?
That's yummy.
It's not a strong, overpowering taste at all, is it? It's perfumed.
Can you get the coconutty thing coming
And
through?
how are you finding it? In terms of the foraging world, it's one of these. Well, I say it's a trend, but it's a trend that's going to keep on going, I think, because chefs are really, really embracing it now, and it thought that it was going to be a gimmick and that was going to be it, but
Everybody's a forager now.
Well, but that's the danger in it, though, really, because everybody.
That is, it's that thing.
On a serious note, that is
a little bit of knowledge is a dangerous thing, and a lot of the times, especially in this world, it is.
We're just going to end now. We've got these little chef's hats that.
Oh, they're posh.
That took us ages to find, to be honest with you. Back when I was cooking, these were readily available. Now you see trend and stuff like that. Nobody can be bothered with any of that nowadays. Yeah. So we're just going to put these little chef's hats over the top. So there we have it. So 2 dishes using some amazing forage produce from the fabulous Alicia Vasey, everybody. scallop, 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 scallop.
Thank you.
Scallop,
Yeah, I'll
scallop,
pass that to you.
scallop.
Lovely.
Scallop.
Thank you very much.
There you go. It's lovely, isn't it? I mean, we're all big fans of this. This three-pointed leek, it's a revelation, that. Really, really nice. Really nice, that, with a little bit of garlic in there.
Really good. I love the colour of it as well.
Oh, it's so good.
That'll be coming to a new restaurant in Carlisle very shortly. But anyway, right, James will be cooking for us in a bit, and I'll be serving up another dish for my guest, Debra Stephenson, a little bit later. But join us after the break for an unmissable masterclass in squid. I'll see you then. Bye for now. Welcome back. Now I'll be treating presenter Debra Stephenson to a prune and armagnac tart. That's coming up shortly. But first, it's time for this week's little masterclass, and I thought I'd show you how to prepare and cook these amazing squid. Now, one person who will be watching for this one will be my mother, so come back in about 10 minutes, Mother, because this is amazing. So we've got large squid and we've got small squid. Now, interestingly enough, the smaller squid are cheaper than the larger squid, to be honest with you. So you buy a lot of these sort of smaller ones frozen. A lot of Asian supermarkets sell these sort of things as well, really. But it's an amazing creature, this, and one that when you prepare it, it's actually very, very simple when you break it all down. So if you are faced with squid like this, you've still got to prepare squid when it gets to this stage, which is half prepared. But if you are faced with squid like this, how do you do it? Like this. So what you do, really, is you break this down into two parts. So you've got the body and you've got the head, which is the tentacles. So the first thing I do is take the head and the body and separate the two parts together. So you do that, you just pull that apart like that, and then use a knife, and you want to trim this. Now, this is its eyes, bits and pieces, but there's a beak inside here as well. See that? And what we do is we just trim it just below the eye, which is there, straight the way through, and I'm going to lose that. That's the bit that we don't use. All right, that's the inside body bit. This is your tentacles and everything. We tend to take the beak out, which is there. You see that beak? We take that out, lose that, and that's your tentacles. Done. All right? That's that bit out of the way. So lose this bit as well. That's gone. Then you start breaking it down, you're faced with this. So what you want to do is you break off, I call these little fins, really, but you've got the fins on the sides. You just pop your fingers in and these just pull off like that. You don't need to cut them. They just pull away. Now, you can actually take all the skin off with your hands as well. So you just take this off. It just peels off like that. Really, once you really get the hang of this, it's actually really simple to prepare, like that. So once you get to that stage, we're just going to trim that off. Now, the first dish that I'm going to do 3 dishes with this. I'm going to do sort of the stereotypical calamari. But before we slice this up, you need to clean out the insides, because inside they have this quill. Now, if you see that, this is sort of its backbone bit, but there's a little bit there, a little pointy bit there. Again, you don't need a knife for this. Just use your hands, and it just unloosens it, and you pull it out. And you end up with this quill, like that. That goes off to one side. So then what you can do then is just clean it out. Now, what I tend to do is just get, well, you can use a knife or a spoon or something like that. Probably better with a spoon, but you just put a spoon in and just scrape it. There you go, look. Scrape it inside out. There you go. You can turn it inside out fully, but you just want to scrape this so you get rid of all the gubbins out of here. I'll lose that in case the mother walks back in again. That's gone. So you're almost there, really, when you start to break this all down. You can do the same with these fins as well. You can take the skin off and slice this all up. So you utilise in one, you see, you get very little waste on squid as well with this one. And then what we want to do with this is your classic squid rings. So we can cut it through like that. This is your classic calamari. You see, you've got to clean that inside out as well. There we go. And the same goes if you've got squid this sort of size. Again, slice it all through like this. So that's your classic sort of deep-fried calamari, which you're going to do now. You can deep-fry it in several ways. You've got a little bit of water if you want to keep it clean. But you can deep-fry this several ways. You can do it in flour, egg and breadcrumbs, like a pane. Or what I do is just take some milk and flour. So, full-fat milk, straight in here. And then we've got some flour, just some plain flour. Seasoning, I like to use table salt for this rather than sea salt. So, table salt, pepper. You can put spices in here if you wanted to. It's entirely up to you. You can put things like paprika. I'm going to use paprika for another thing as well. But you mix this lot together, and what you're going to do is then take the squid, pop it into the flour, like that, roll it all around, and then set the fryer quite hot. Now, with squid, you want to really cook this very, very quickly or very slowly. There's no sort of medium cooking side of it with squid. So whenever I'm cooking squid, I cook it very, very fast, whereas octopus, I cook it slowly, that kind of stuff, and then finish it off very, very quickly. But the fryer is very, very hot. So this can go in, and I say really, really hot. This is going to take, just off any excess flour, this is going to take no more than about a minute to cook. So leave that to one side. Quick wipe with my hand, and then we'll get on with the next one. That's that. Now, while that's frying, we can prepare our little bit of squid over here. So this I'm going to do a squid with black bean. Again, really, really simple. For this one, what I'm going to do is just open up the squid like this. See, it's nice and clean, really. For this one, what we can do is we can score this. Now, you've probably seen this quite a lot of times chefs do this. What you do with a knife is you tenderising it, really. So rather than serve a big piece of squid like this, which it's not tough, but to make it easier and more pleasant to eat, you just take your knife and you score it. And by scoring it, you're just cutting just a couple of mil into the squid, like that. So, sharp, sharp knife, not cutting all the way through. You're doing it one way, and then you're doing the other way. And what we're doing is we're cutting down through about, I suppose about halfway through the squid, really. That's it. And generally, you do this with thicker pieces of squid that we've got in here, so you're really tenderising it. So, before I do anything, we'll just finish this off, because this is now ready. So, turn that out. And you've got your deep-fried calamari. Just wash my hands. Again, really simple. Bring this over. But you can just pop that on here. You know, this is your classic. And you see, you don't really have to do anything with it. It's just a pinch of salt and a little wedge of lemon, I suppose, with it. And you've got your crispy calamari. Easy as that. What's that taking? Minutes, not really more than that, even to prepare it. You've got your other bit of fish over here. This is the black bean. So I've scored it like that, and we can cut this into sort of several angles, really, I suppose, like that. You can trim it all down. And then for all the ingredients, like you would have normally when you're preparing anything like this, make sure you have the ingredients prepared. So we can get a little bit of garlic, which I can chop up, ready. A little bit of ginger, which I'm going to grate. I'm going to leave the skin on ginger, because I love ginger, like that. If you are going to peel ginger, peel it with a spoon. Don't peel it with a peeler. It's much easier. But ginger skin, it's amazing flavour. So this is squid with black bean, very, very quick. So again, very hot pan on the stove. Make sure it's nice and hot. I'm going to use some groundnut oil. I don't use olive oil for this. So I've got my squid ready. I've got fermented black beans. You can buy these in tins and jars in the supermarket. Ginger, garlic I've got some soy, spring onions, a little bit of lime, a little bit of this. This is a little bit of rice wine and some sesame oil right at the end. I'm not going to cook with the sesame oil. It's basically a flavouring right at the end. So in we go with the groundnut oil. Get this pan nice and hot now, which that is. And then the minute they put the squid in, you'll see what will happen. It'll start to curl around. A little bit of broccoli we can put in there now. And you're looking to get a little bit of colour on the squid as well. So this is where you want the pan nice and hot. You see, if I lift that off, you can see that marks that you're making on that squid. You get this amazing colour from it as well. So if we put a touch more oil in there, maybe. This is why we don't cook with sesame oil, because it will burn. It's the common mistake when we're doing anything with sort of that sort of wok frying and Chinese cooking. You fry in sesame oil and it tastes burnt. You often wonder why, and that's because sesame oil, it will burn straight away. So just be really careful with it. So in we go with that. In we can go with our black beans. Our ginger, garlic. And then we start adding the rest of our ingredients. Our soy. A little bit of rice wine. Touch of sesame right at the end. And then finally, spring onions, coriander in. Last minute dish. Mix. Look at that. Beautiful bit of squid. Touch of lime juice. Just to finish this off. This is what I love cooking like this. It's very pure when you're doing stuff like this. And it doesn't allow you to mess around with food, the squid. It just allows you to work quickly with it. There we have it. That's dish number 2. Squid with black bean. Really, really simple. Next, and one final one, we've got using the baby squid. Really easy, squid with chorizo, with paprika and a little bit of garlic. So again, just nice and simple. Really easy flavours. Just going to use a little bit of garlic. I'm just going to crush this time. This is chorizo picante. Now, picante is the one that you look for. It's the one with extra paprika, a little bit of spice. It's always the softer chorizo is what you want to cook with. Don't cook with the harder one. You get much more oil out of this one as well. So the chorizo picante. So you just chop all this lot up. And again, really, really, really quickly with this. Hot pan on the stove. And this is where I'm going to utilise the baby squid and the tentacles and that kind of stuff. But for this, instead of using groundnut oil, because I want all the flavour from the oil as well, I'm going to turn my attention to really good extra virgin olive oil. And for this, Spain or Portugal, because this is your classic. So you get this nice and hot in here. And again, really, really quickly. For this, I'm going to use the little baby squid over here and these little tentacles over there. So you get this nice and hot. I've got my chorizo, I've got my garlic. So now I can add that into our pan. This will start to infuse all those lovely oils from the chorizo. You can see already you got that beautiful orange colour. And now we can grab our squid straight in. Tentacles go in. Beautiful. This is just, whether you're doing this on the barbecue as well, squid, it's beautiful. If you are doing that, the squid's slightly bigger, make sure you chop the squid up, like I said to you, with that little sort of marking on the top to tenderise it a bit. But for that, you can grab a little bit of herbs and parsley kind of stuff. Sits in there, a little bit of coriander, it's entirely up to you. Mix all that lot up. A little bit of lemon at the end. A little bit of lemon. Salt. Pepper. You can probably see the way that I'm cooking. Chefs just love to cook like this because it's just... And then you just pop that on there. And you see how quickly you've created a meal. You know, that's the squid with a nice little bit of oil, with a bit of garlic, a little bit of lemon wedged with it as well. And there you have it. 3 dishes using one of the most amazing ingredients you'll ever find in the sea. Squid. Done. Now, if there's anything you'd like to learn about, a little masterclass, then do get in touch. We'll see if we can help out right here on the show. Time now for a quick break, but join me again in a couple of minutes when Mr. James Tanner will be trying to top trump this dish with a recipe for lamb rump. I'll see you in a bit. Welcome back. Now, I'll be cooking a prune and armagnac tart for my guest, Debra Stephenson, a little bit later on. But first, I'm here with a chef whose apparent restaurant empire stems from the Garden of England, which I don't believe he's got a restaurant in Yorkshire. Apparently, it's in Kent. It's Mr. James Tanner!
Thank you.
Now, it's in Kent, your restaurant, as well as in Plymouth. We're going to talk about that as well. But what are you going to be making for us?
Today I'm doing roast rump lamb with a bit of garlic and some rosemary, some wild garlic choux Kiev potatoes, and a little honey ziri sauce, which is basically sherry vinegar.
The stage is yours, chef, so off you go.
Why, thank you. OK, so we've got some lovely lamb, obviously
Yeah.
British lamb, and I just need to trim this up. I've got a pan that...
Now, you're a big supporter of lamb like I am. We've been cooking a lot of lamb on the show, and this all stems from the fact that I was with a gentleman that was a lamb farmer, and he's been a lamb farmer for 5 generations. This is the first year he's decided that never, ever is going to do it again. And that's due to the fact of imports, and it's just a nightmare. So I think if you are going to support anything in the UK in terms of the food, this is one of the things we should be supporting.
No, yeah, big time, you know. Embrace that seasonality as well to put something nice with it so it's even better.
And using the lamb rump as well.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful cut of meat.
It is, and you're saying about pricing. I remember when the butcher wouldn't give these away.
Yeah.
They used to be so cheap.
Yeah.
Like, unbelievably cheap.
Not like that anymore in
No,
anything, though, is it,
no,
really?
they're not, but it is a cheaper cut, a little bit cheaper cut.
So this is the top of the leg
yeah.
that you get.
It's like that bit there.
Yeah.
That, give it a squeeze on a bit, yeah? Anyway, yeah, you get me. Right, anyway, look, trimmed off some of the sinew. That way it won't curl up when you cook it. We're going to put it into the pan, lay it away from yourself, fat side down. Right, let me get rid of this lot.
Yeah. Now, I'm intrigued about these potatoes that you're going to be serving it with, because this is not a potato dish as such. This is choux pastry at its base.
It's a 50-50 mix of choux pastry and dry mashed potato.
Right.
We're going to put it into the machine.
Yeah.
And then we're going to use the machine to cool it slightly before I add the egg. So, there we go, the machine's on. Just going to leave it to do its thing. Regarding the lamb, we've rendered it, like you said, and it's starting to get a little bit crisp. But what I will do is still continue with the coloration, but do all sides so it's rendered or sealed all over, OK? We're going to bruise up a bit of the rosemary, not all of it. In with some rosemary. I'm not even going to, like, rub it in the oil too much at the top. Halfway through the cooking of the lamb, turn the lamb.
So you've got the garlic in there as well, yeah?
Right, literally, just before we put it in the oven. So I'm going to put these two now. We can leave it, like, on the fat side down. Cook it for 4 minutes that way. Flip them, another 4, take them out roughly, and then give it a little squeeze, and it should just bounce back.
You're putting this in there. People at home would be cooking this for 15, 20 minutes.
No, it'll go too tough. You don't need to. You don't need to. OK, right, let's get the choux mixture finished.
Yeah, OK.
Right, so in with the mash. Give that a good mix again.
I love this idea as a potato dish as well.
It's pomme dauphine.
I know, people don't do it anymore, do they? They're soufflés up. Usually you get small ones and they puff up, but you're going to fill it with the butter, which is different again.
Basically, there's a classic dish called pomme dauphine. I mean, I did it when I was training, right? And I'm sure you did. But, like, people might say, oh, yeah, you're old school. There's a reason why it's good, yeah?
Exactly.
Let's be honest, right? Anyway, this is my little twist on it. So basically, that's combined. At this point, obviously, it's still a bit warm and a bit softer. Let me just show you with the consistency. If I rub that there.
Yeah.
How's that camera free? Close enough for you?
Look at that, yeah. Takes them a while to get it focused.
Right.
Go on, you're right.
But it's a bit warm, so we chill it, basically, and it helps firm it up with the cooking process. OK, so in true style, I've got one in your fridge. I did this one.
I'm going to step up this point in time because you're doing this. What's this English Riviera food festival you're a part of as well?
Summer for us is, you know, a big event like it is for everybody. But when I say for us, I mean outside events is massive. So yeah, there's going to be a festival down in Torquay over the summer. Different bands, music playing, and great street food and all that kind of thing. Right. We're just rubbing some oil on that and a bit of sea salt, and James has got this lovely little plancha. You could do this in a frying pan, by the way, and we're just going to cook it from raw.
Yep, straight on there.
Right. Anyway,
just a hot pan, that's what you want for this, really?
Yeah, but from raw. To me, the flavour of roasted asparagus from raw is a lot more intense than if we would have blanched it and then coloured it up.
Amazing. Also, if you just put it under the grill, really hot grill is fine.
Yeah, same principle.
You know, barbecue, obviously, barbecue's banging. But this is, so you allow that mixture to cool?
Exactly that. We allow it to cool, and then we're going to add the butter to it, which I'll go through with you in a second, because I'm just going to sweat down a few shallots for our sauce base.
OK, that's on.
OK, but no, yeah, back to you were saying, yeah, so there's one of the festivals, and then the other big thing for us is events. So it'll be year 6 for me now, for Royal Ascot.
Yeah.
And then the next one towards the end of the summer, love doing it, did it last year for the first time, the PGA Golf, and I've got a restaurant there. So I'm doing that again at the end of the summer.
You're busy, yeah?
Yeah. So in that one, we do breakfasts, alternating grazing menu, and then I do afternoon teas.
You're mad. You're
Oh,
absolutely
no,
mad.
honestly, I love it. I enjoy it.
You're mad. See, this is what I think with the asparagus. What you want to do is get to this stage, switch off the griddle like that, and you take the asparagus and it continues to cook.
Yeah.
You can cover it with cling film as well if you want, but you know that is now cooked.
Yeah. So we've flashed that at the end because we're kind of getting towards that point now.
So tell me how you make these things then, because I'm going to sit back down again because tell me how you make these things.
So wild garlic. OK, beautiful wild garlic, bang on in season, yeah? Shred it up, touch of a grate of lemon zest, unsalted butter, and then we're just going to cut little pieces. Again, this has been in the fridge to give it a bit of firmness. Even cutting this now, the smell of this wild garlic is absolutely wonderful. Love it. And then we're going to just get our sauce base on first. So we've got some shallots, sweating them down so they're just starting to soften. We've got some sherry vinegar, or Xeris. So that goes in.
But a lot of people use red wine vinegar and more, but it's not the same.
No.
It's got to be the sherry vinegar.
So we're going to reduce this till it really just starts to go. So there's not a lot left in the pan. I've done this deliberately, by the way. The pan's not too hot. That's what I want to happen. We're going to counteract it with sweetness. So a little figure of 8 of honey goes in there. A touch of stock. OK, great. OK, so I'm going to get my extra flour.
Do you want me to? I'll sort your sauce out. I'll sort that out for you.
And then we get the potato.
Yeah.
Flour your hands.
I'll sort that out for you. Crank that up.
And then we get a piece of the garlic.
So this is like a little donut-y sort of thing?
Yeah. So you get a piece of flavoured butter, right? You can use whatever flavoured butter you want. However, you could do a red wine shallot reduction in there as well. That works.
Yeah.
Sage with chicken. Oh, I love it. I really do.
I mean, you say it's old school, but it's...
It is. There's a reason why it got invented in the first place. It tastes nice. But
So tell us about your restaurants then, because you've got the pub down in Kent.
yeah, so the Kentish Hare in Kent.
Yeah.
The Bib Gourmand, Michelin Bib Gourmand and everything else like that.
Yeah.
Really, really
Do you mind
good.
if I got a little bit of butter?
No, that's what I was going to finish it. Perfect. And then we've got the Barbican Kitchen, which is housed in the Plymouth Gin Distillery, 100
I mean, if you're
cover.
going to open a restaurant anyway, you open it in a distillery, don't you?
Yeah, it's beautiful, though. You walk in there and you see the vats, you can go and do gin tours, all that kind of stuff. And, you know, it's a seriously old building with a lot of heritage.
Lots of
there.
history with
yeah,
it,
yeah, yeah. They've got...
And I've been there, because you can see the vats and everything else all happening at the same time.
Right. So, look, we're almost there with this, because these don't take long at all. But as you can see, the flour stops the product from sticking on your hand. And then it's a honey ziri sauce, James, not a butter sauce, mate. That's fine.
It is, yeah. Chef, you know this is going to taste good.
No, I can smell it already.
Yeah, look at that. It's going to be...
Nice. OK.
Pass it through a sieve.
So, again, a little bit more of butter.
Do you want more butter in it as well?
No. We've got enough butter going on.
There.
Do you know what? I'm just going to do one more.
Looks pretty good to me.
So, with this recipe now, we've got the oven, we've got the fryer heated up to about 180.
I mean, because the butter in there, they're not going to take very long.
No, they don't. Not at all. Right, OK, preheated, here we go. So, carefully, I'm dropping them in. If I would have thrown them all in and put the basket down, they'd all stick to the basket. That's why I've not done that, OK? Beautiful. Then when you just give it a little tease to make sure they're not sticking, and they're not, leave it to do its thing. OK, right, so asparagus. Just going to put the heat back in there.
Yeah.
I've got some lamb that's been rested here.
Yeah.
But it shows you with time. I wouldn't serve these straight away now, but they're ready to rest it, let it relax. They would be good to go. So, yeah, it's minutes, isn't it?
I mean, they're not very long at all, particularly with the rumper lamb, yeah.
Not at all. OK. let's have a look at these spuds, or Pomme Dauphine. So we just give them a little...
difference between spuds and Pommes Dauphine.
I know, but, you know, you get it. So, my choux potato. So we take off the excess oil, very, very important. They look like little donuts, don't they? Great. Honestly, man, I love these. And let's get that there. Clean up our plate. Got a bit of water in there. OK. Out with that asparagus. Yeah. And like the way James cooked it, spot on, where it's still got a beautiful colour and it's still got bite. Very, very important.
The two of you, I said the two of you, you're both brothers. Do you spend one week in one and 1 week in the other?
A little bit like that.
That's what I get the feeling what it's a bit like, yeah.
It's a little bit like that, yeah. Depends. It really depends. And also, you know, like the crew, some of, you know, depends who's on holiday and or have they got a family do on or whatever like that. So, you know, we just float between where we need to. Sometimes we're in the same place, sometimes we're not. Let's get that sauce a little bit warmer. Lovely. Great. No, OK, with the lamb, we're going to have this cloth ready now.
Now, you have to be careful which
way you cut it.
Where you cut it, don't you?
Right. So I'll cut both, although we reserve one. Now, so it should look well rested and just pink and juicy still, yeah? Look. Yeah. And that's exactly the kind of coloration you want. I personally think the lamb, if it's too under, it's chewy, you know? If it's, like, really, really under.
The same?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's take... I'm not going to need all of this, obviously, but let's put that there. Get rid of that. OK. And then we present... It's up to you how you present it, but I'm just going to go with a little fan across there with the lamb.
So give us the name of this dish.
There you have it. That's my roasted chump of lamb with rosemary and garlic, roasted English asparagus, and my choux Kiev potatoes with wild garlic butter.
James Tanner, everybody. Right, I'm armed and ready, Mr. Tanner.
OK, my man.
I'm looking forward to this, actually. I know you've got a little bit left over there, so I'll let you dive into that as well. But these really intrigue me, these. You use half potato, half choux. Look at that.
Half and half.
It's like a little Kiev.
Yeah. Hence choux Kiev.
That is...
Celebrate the seasons.
No, it's delicious.
Yeah, nice, right?
James Tanner, everybody. Right, you going to stick around as well for the last part of the show?
Yeah.
Good. Well, we'll see you after the break when I'll be cooking an amazing prune and ammoniac tart for my guest, Debra Stephenson. But I'll see you after the break. It gives me enough time to eat these. These are amazing, actually. Amazing. Welcome back to the last part of the show, but I'm back in the kitchen with all my guests, the brilliant James, Rishi, and, of course, Debra Stephenson. Debra, I thought with this, we had enough sort of savoury stuff today, really. I thought for this, we'll do something sweet. We'll do a prune and ammoniac tart, classically French, using ammoniac. It starts off with a frangipane with a pastry over here I've got made, which we put a little bit of flour, some butter and some egg. That's a little bit of pastry. But the frangipane is this. It's butter, almonds, eggs, flour and sugar. That's it. Now, we had this conversation before we started.
We did.
You can cream the butter and the sugar together. You don't need to. You can actually just put everything in. So you can put the butter, the sugar, the almonds, the eggs, all in together. You're not purely convinced with this.
No, I'm going to do it.
With the flour, and then gradually mix it all together, and it will actually combine. The topping side of it, we're going to get on first, which is these lovely prunes. I mean, these are... We've got some beautiful prunes. We've got a little bit of water and some sugar. That's going to go in there. And we're going to allow these to sort of puff up. This is going to be for the top bit of it, together with a little bit of ammoniac, which is this stuff is amazing. 1972.
Good year.
Yeah.
No, good. Born?
Born.
75.
Nothing really happened in 75.
Not born yet.
He wasn't born yet. He was just... so we're just going to warm that up. And that'll allow these sort of prunes to puff up a little bit. Meanwhile, we've got our nice little bit of pastry over here. Now, the thing is about prune Armagnac tart is particularly the small ones, you don't need to bake the pastry blind, really. Do you get time to cook much at home? Because I get the feeling you're incredibly busy. I mean, not busy at the moment, we're going to mention the tour. But do you find time to relax and stuff like that?
Yeah, a little bit, and I definitely always find time to cook. I mean, I cook dinner most nights. Sometimes my husband cooks, and sometimes it's me. A lot of the time, we sort of have always shared that role. But I like to do Bakewell tart, which is obviously quite similar.
Very similar, you see?
Yeah.
Exactly, very similar. Well, now you know you don't need to cream everything. You just throw everything in.
I haven't got a lovely machine like that, so I tend to just do everything like I did at school. You know, the rubbed-in method, or
is that another excuse for just you're going to nick my machine when you go home tonight as well? But look, we've got this Armagnac. That's going to go in there as well. And
well, I've never used Armagnac. Can you tell us about it?
Well, Armagnac is Armagnac. There's brandy and there's brandy. There's Armagnac and there's Armagnac.
Okay.
But the way you've got to drink Armagnac is I'll get a couple of glasses out here. So you got to do this.
I love that it's a 1972. Here's to that.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to get. I know, Rishi, you won't want one. So
yes, I won't say no to that.
Mr. Tanner, you want one, do you?
I was going to say yes.
I won't say no to that at all.
You won't say no to this one. I didn't think you'd say no to this, to be honest with you.
It's the best stuff in the world.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, so you just take a little bit of this. Now, before you taste any of it, like that, James Tanner's too busy over there for him to
Thank
give you
you.
a little portion. Now,
that's quite a lot, eh?
I know.
Now, before you taste any of it, what you've got to do is you've got to warm it up.
Oh.
So what you do is you take the palm of your hand over the top. Hand over the top is crucial. Nice and tight, and warm it up.
And that warms it, does it?
It's a little wiggle movement. You just got to warm it up like that. Keep warming, Rishi. You not keep going. This, like this. And then what you do is you breathe in and out 3 times. And on the out one, as much as you can out. And then breathe in through your nose. And when you do it through your nose, lift your hand over the top. You ready?
Sounds like Wim Hof. We've got to breathe.
All right. 3 times. Breathe out 3 times fully. Right out. It's like a yoga class.
It is, yeah. I should know.
Last one, right out. Next one, breathe through your nose now.
Oh. That's cleared
You
my
don't even need to
sinuses.
taste it. That's cleared everything, isn't it? You haven't got a clue what's happening tomorrow, and you haven't even drank anything. Look at it, it's brilliant. Now taste it.
I do feel a bit like I've meditated for... Oh, yeah, that is like brandy.
But look, we've missed most of the recipe that we've got here. We're supposed to talk about your tour as well, but... Look,
the many voices of Debra Stephenson, that's all we need to say, really.
So tell us about the tour, then, because you're now day 1 into the tour. This is tell us about it, because this is you on the road.
Yep, it's me on the road with my many, many voices and lots of songs. I've got music in the show with a pianist. So we all have a really, really good time, basically, going back through the decades with all your favourite singers, all my favourite singers, from your Shirley Bassey's and your Judy Garland's right the way up to your Paloma Faith and Adele. Paloma Faith's got to be one of my favourite ones because, you know, It's always that I like to sing and I like to speak, but sometimes I get a little bit mixed up and I end up singing in this voice and it sounds really strange. But yeah, it's lots of songs and lots of comedy as well, because I've got to keep up with the times, though, you know.
So look, we've got in here our nice little almonds, which we then place over the top. Now, the great thing about this is you can freeze this. You can cook it from frozen if you wanted to. You can defrost it, then cook it. Alternatively, you can pop it in the fridge and then last for about a couple of days in the fridge and then cook it. It's entirely up to you. But what you want to do is just take your almonds like that over the top.
And you didn't put any almond essence in it because it doesn't need it, doesn't.
No, almond essence is kind of like a swear word in a pastry chef's kitchen, isn't it? Really, I suppose.
Right.
We don't really use almond essence. We use more Armagnac more than anything else, but I think that's more the thing that we use.
Armagnac.
But we're just going to heat this up now. I'm just going to get this a little bit thicker, and then what we're going to do is take our prunes, which have been puffed up in here, and then place one of them on the top.
And they're soaked in the armagnac, yeah?
Soak in the armagnac, soaked in the sugar and the water, that kind of stuff. Pop them in the fridge and then bake them in the oven. 180 degrees, one about sort of 15, 20 minutes like that. Again, the key to this is make sure the pastry is really, really thin. Because if you do that, you don't have to bake it blind. It'll cook all the way through, like that, all the way through.
Yeah, because it takes ages, doesn't it? That's what sometimes puts me off doing my Bakewell tarts, because the baking blind thing, it's all a bit...
I think that's the thing. I think what you do is really, when you're doing this, invest in something that goes smaller in the tins. I don't know about you, but when you go larger in the tins, you've still got to get that pastry really, really thin. And so often it's not thin enough, and I think that's the problem with it. You've got to get really, really wafer thin. So a little bit of cream over here, and then I'm going to take our ones out of the oven, which have been warming up nicely. Asbestos fingers. Ouch. Ouch.
Ah.
Ouch.
What are they made of, those tins?
I don't know, but they're hot.
They're hot.
They're not
lava.
made
Do you know what I need? Is I need some more armagnac.
Oh, here's to that.
This is a good one.
Cheers.
Exactly.
Jolly good.
And then what I'm going to do is going to brush this over the top. Now, you've got a few little plates over there, Sheffy, so you can put them out in front of us over here. But, like, obviously, you put your jam in the bottom like I've got with the prunes. But to make the prune puree, you take the prunes out of here and just blend them all up. So you're not wasting anything, really, when you're doing that. And we can take this amazing sort of flavour from the prunes and just brush that over the top so you get a double whammy of this.
So when you were young, because you're my age, I can say this, who were your sort of TV cooks that you would have watched? You know, was it...
Keith Lloyd.
See, I remember watching Fanny Craddock on the television, but that definitely didn't inspire me to become a TV cook.
Well,
not that I had the talent for it anyway, but, you know...
You've done all right for yourself.
It did kind of inspire me to do a little bit of a sort of Fanny Craddock impression. And, of course, and we've got Johnny here, and he's...
She was amazing.
Yes, absolutely amazing. If you don't mind having your eyebrows painted on 2 inches above your own actual eyebrows. Thank you, Johnny. You just keep drinking.
But there we have it. A prune and armagnac tart. Done. Right.
No, it's good.
You get to dive into this.
Oh, thank you.
Bon appetit.
That's fit for a king.
And there you go. Dive in.
Thank you so
Machine,
much.
there you go. Go on then, chef. You can tell. Go on then. And I'll just cut this so you can see you got that layer in the bottom there that you want as well. But yeah. And I think the key to it more than anything, if you are going to do the frangipane or you do Bakewell or any food in frangipane, because it's got the butter in, do not put it in the fridge. If you put it in the fridge, it just sets the butter and it changes it totally. You've got to serve it warm. Whether you leave it out of the oven and then just pop it back in the oven just to warm up as well.
That's really lovely.
Really nice. I mean,
Happy with that?
Classic for a reason, eh?
That's all right.
Yeah.
Classic for a reason. It's cost us about 350 quid to make. But anyway, there we go. That's not all. A massive thank you to all my guests. I can't believe we've nicked my cellar. Well, that's it. That's all we've got time for today. A massive thank you to all my guests. Rachel from Westley Farm for that amazing watercress. Rishi, James, Alicia, and, of course, Debra Stephenson. Good luck with the tour. Good luck with the tour. And that's not all, because remember, next week we've got the King's Coronation, so we'll see you here at my house on Saturday the 13th of May, when I'll be joined by Lisa Goodwin-Allen, James Knappett, Tony Singh, as well as Hollywood star and West End star Adam Garcia. Until then, see you at my house in 2 weeks' time. Bye for now.